So we're very excited today to showcase the 24/7 crisis diversion. I'm just going to start by giving you a very little brief overview of what REACH is, and then I'm going to turn it over to the real experts, Kelly Cusack and Claire McDonald. They're taking the way away from me already because they know I'm going to mess it up, right? Oh, because I'm moving on faster than I'm supposed to, okay. And then they're going to walk through with you a report back on what we've been up to with 24/7 crisis diversion. We're going to present the preliminary results of the social return on investment evaluation that was done on the program, recognizing it's part one of a multi-year evaluation. But we thought, we had stopped doing these for a while during COVID, but we think it's really important that we showcase to the community and to the funders what the impact has been of the program that we are operating on behalf of partners. So I also wanted to say that these results that we've already received are going to be used in future visioning exercises, and beginning next week, the steering committee of the 24/7 crisis diversion team is going to meet next week, really go through these results and look at how we can fill gaps and move forward in a meaningful way. So it's really about using the data for continuous improvement. We'd also be really interested in any feedback that you have for us today around this, so that can be also included in our visioning exercise. So if we can just flip the slide to, I think a lot of you in this room are really familiar with REACH, but for those of you who aren't, back in 2008, there was a task force set up, and just prior to that task force, a noted criminologist by the name of Irvin Waller from the University of Ottawa came to Edmonton, and he presented to City Council at the time, and he said that cities or municipalities that invested in upfront community safety and well-being strategies or addressed the root causes of crime upfront could actually save significant dollars down the road in terms of policing, incarceration, mental health, and health services. So the City Council of the time unanimously voted to set up a task force that was headed up by a social worker and a former police chief, and they went about and they interviewed hundreds of Edmontonians from all walks of life, and they came up with something called the REACH report. And one of the things that's and that has 9 recommendations, and what I'd love to say about those 9 recommendations, and we're not going to go through them, I promise, but they're on our website. What I'd like to say about those recommendations is it's truly timeless. To this day, they are still very applicable and speak to the needs of the city of Edmonton, in particular serving our most vulnerable. But one of those 9 recommendations was that REACH be created and that it be an arm's length organization separate from the city, so that we could be more flexible and nimble and responsive. Now, that's not to say that we don't work in close lockstep with the City of Edmonton. We absolutely do. But we are just that arm's length organization that addresses issues of community safety and well-being. We're going to talk specifically about our 24/7 crisis diversion program today, but as you can see from the screen, we're involved in over 30 community initiatives. And really, I think the best description of the work of REACH is that we're a community-based capacity builder. Well, we recognize very clearly that the solutions to many very difficult social issues lie within the community. Many people who live in the community know what the solutions are, but they don't always have the capacity to implement them. So we try very hard to help them to build that capacity to solve those complex social issues. So we're a convener. We bring people together to address these complex social issues, and we try to broker partnerships, and that's really our #1 job. Sometimes that means being the fiscal agent for an organization. Sometimes that means providing them with support around communications or HR, people in wellness, all sorts of things to just help them to build a stronger organization. And we have 8 focused areas areas where we touch on community safety and well-being. I won't, again, go into those. So today, though, we're going to talk about 24/7, and again, that's one of the REACH recommendations, that a 24/7 service delivery model be developed for high-needs populations. And just a quick little history on that. In what year was it that we, Claire, I'm looking?
13 was back.
In 2013, there was the police chief at the time, Police Chief Rod Connect, was telling people, and rightly so, that his police officers were spending far too much time dealing with issues that really didn't need that level of intervention. And we're looking at solutions, what could happen. At one time, some of you might remember, there was a discussion around a safe sobering center. The idea that people could go somewhere and have their needs met, and so that police weren't dealing with them. We knew intrinsically that wasn't going to happen really quickly, that we needed a quick fix intervention, and that's when we created something called MAP, the Mobile Assistance Program. And that was the beginning of the 24/7 Crisis Diversion Team. And there's some people in the room who were with us when we created MAP. And MAP really was a great part of the work that we did, but what we found when we were working with MAP is that not only were we addressing the immediate crisis, but we were also busy doing the warm handoff. And people were ending up really doing the work of social workers and caseworkers, which is really important work, but it was detracting from our ability to deal with the crisis. So we rejigged it, and then we created the 24/7 Crisis Diversion Team in partnership with our incredible and wonderful partners at Boyle Street Community Services, Hope Mission, Canadian Mental Health, who runs the 211 for us. So REACH plays really quite a small role in this, and you're going to hear more from our very important programs who really do the heavy lifting on this. So now I'm going to turn it over, I think Kelly already started, to Kelly Hussack, who's the Director of Community Initiatives here at REACH Edmonton, and she's going to walk you through some of the results of the evaluation.
Thank you, Jan. It really is a pleasure to be here today to speak with you all about this long-standing program in the community and what it's been doing. So within the program's purpose of providing in-the-moment support to individuals experiencing vulnerability, we want to be able to help them get to a safer place and divert those crises that are non-emergent away from emergency services. And by doing so, we see ourselves as contributing to a more efficient and coordinated continuum of response service. So the work of the 24/7 Crisis Diversion Program is centered around 4 core activities that are listed on the slide above. The first being the call assessments that are conducted by 211 community resource specialists through a phone line at their agency, so that being the 211 Press 3 line. This makes our program the only publicly available non-emergency response program in Edmonton, and this component provides residents and citizens a resource for either themselves or others in the community that they may come across. And the community resource specialists work with callers to determine that next appropriate step. Through the calls that are then received, the program then completes wellness checks by dispatching mobile teams. This is where we can begin to respond to community needs and be a compassionate option for situations not requiring emergency response. Currently, we have 10 vehicles on the road over a 24-hour period that are conducting wellness checks. In addition to that core work of wellness checks, we also provide what we call general support through proactive engagements. So this is where we use program downtime to connect with those requiring support, but who are not connecting already with the 211 phone line. And then finally, of course, the program itself works to is a service that works with partners to improve service connection for high needs populations. This is both within our program, but also additionally with emergency service providers and other community service agencies, where we will not only refer to those agencies when we conduct warm handoffs, but we'll often receive referrals from agencies as well, for example, through a direct phone line that we hold for emergency service professionals so that they can sidestep, I suppose, any potential wait times within the program. So through these activities, we have seen program demand steadily increase year over year as we continue to expand and adapt our programming to better meet the needs of individuals in the community. Our reach as a result and the impact of the program is growing for those Edmontonians who either call or receive support from our service directly. Now, REACH recognized very early on the need for quality data in the program, both for understanding the program and its impacts, but also for being able to identify gaps and if there are any emerging needs in the community. And as the body providing project management for the program, REACH is tasked with the development, oversight, and maintenance of an app and data system that supports program operations, but also is the source for where we extract our data from. This data is used to compile monthly reports that we distribute regularly with service providers and our partners. And then our data is also utilized by additional projects such as the city's Unison dashboard, the drug poisoning dashboard, and it's also been used in evaluative efforts, for example, most recently with the Healthy Streets Operations Center. So in 2023, the 24/7 Crisis Diversion Program received approval for enhancement funding from Edmonton City Council to bring our funding up to a total of $4.5 million in that year, 2023, and then incrementally up again in 2024. This funding increase represented partial funding for the service package that was presented to Council at the time. Nonetheless, it has been crucial in expanding our capacity to better meet the demand that we are seeing in the community. It has allowed us to increase our fleet by 2 vehicles, as well as to hire 211 Press 3 phone line staff, and also make data system improvements that are in alignment with a new call consultation process that was launched in 2024. However, what I did want to highlight is that beyond just the funding provided to the program directly from the City of Edmonton, our partners actually contributed to the program as well. And in 2024, this was captured, the program captured an overall operating budget of about $5.6 million. And as you can see from the pie chart above, although the city is our only formal program funder, significant funding contributions also are leveraged through the partnership model that we have in place. I will now pass it off to Claire, who will walk us through a little bit more in depth some of the results of the program.
Great. Hi, thanks Kelly. So I am going to walk through some program data. We're going to start with our partner data at 211. So in 2024, community resource specialists at 211 answered over 66,000 calls, with nearly half of those, about 48%, coming through on the 211 Press 3 crisis diversion line. About 5 years ago, crisis diversion calls only represented about 25 to 30% of their overall call volume. However, as the program has grown and increased public awareness has happened, we have more people turning to 211 and crisis diversion for support as an alternative to going to emergency services. Over the past year, crisis diversion calls have consistently represented about 45 to 50% of their overall call volume. So, the 2 primary needs identified by people who are calling into crisis diversion are requests for supportive transportation and for wellness checks, as Kelly had mentioned. In most of the time, about 97% of the time, crisis diversion is able to meet that need. In situations where we are unable to, so whether that's we're at exceeding capacity or crisis diversion just isn't the right response, community resource specialists will provide information and referrals to make sure that the caller is supported in some way. So, unfortunately, as increased demand happens, so does the increase in wait times. So last year alone, there was a 49% increase in the number of calls going into 211. And so as a result, the wait time was about 4 minutes, which we understand can be frustrating when calling into 211. But we are actively working to increase program efficiencies and reduce delays while still ensuring that everybody who calls into 211 is met with the care and attention that they deserve. So our commitment is strong to providing timely and effective support to those in non-emergency crisis and connect them with the resources they need, whether that's crisis diversion or an alternative. So now we're going to talk about the mobile team data, which is operated by Omission and Boyle Street Community Services. As Kelly mentioned, we have 10 vehicles on the road. In the past year, mobile teams responded to just under 30,000 dispatches. This is a 49% increase, or almost 10,000 more dispatches than in 2023. This past winter alone, during a cold snap, we were responding to an average of 120 dispatches per day, with people receiving over 140. This marks the busiest period in our program's almost 10-year history. And this is a direct result of the increase in mobile teams on the road, but also the dedication of our program partners in looking at and identifying ways to enhance our program efficiencies. So given that we serve the entire city of Edmonton with a very small fleet of vehicles, in comparison to emergency services. Mobile teams arrive on site within approximately 30 minutes on average from the time the dispatch is created. So wait times do depend on things like call volume at the time the dispatch is created, but also the location of the event as well. But our teams work efficiently to make sure that we are responding in a timely way, especially to those who are most at risk during times of cold snaps or heat, as we're hopefully getting to soon. So from the dispatches, mobile teams are actually able to locate and connect with about 65% of the folks. And of those interactions, an incredible 97% accept some form of help from our staff. The primary support we provided last year was supportive transportation, ensuring that individuals reach safe and appropriate services to meet their needs. Our continued focus remains on expanding our capacity and improving our response times and ensuring that people in non-emergency crisis receive compassionate and effective support when they need it the most. In addition to dispatched events, we actually do a lot of proactive engagement, which Kelly mentioned as well, and that's outreach throughout the city of Edmonton during program downtime. This vital work helps us connect with individuals who might not always reach out for help when they need it. And last year alone, our mobile teams conducted 17,000 proactive engagements, reaching 46,000 individuals, and that's above the dispatched events. These interactions allow our teams and our staff to be able to build connections with individuals and making sure that they have the support that they need, whether that's basic needs, first aid, or simply just a compassionate connection. Unfortunately, it's also during these proactive engagements that our staff encounter individuals who are experiencing opioid poisonings. Our teams are trained to respond with life-saving care, and in 2024 alone, they responded to and successfully reversed 140 opioid poisonings. This is a testament to the dedication of our staff, especially during times when people are most at risk. Another key part I wanted to highlight about the work that Crisis Diversion does is our partnership with Rogers Place. Since the arena opened in 2016, Crisis Diversion has provided dedicated support in the area during events when our capacity allows. So 1 hour before events and 1 hour after events, we deploy 2 staff on foot and 2 staff in a vehicle in the area in order to offer support to anybody who might need it, whether that's vulnerable community members or folks who might just be not often coming downtown and find themselves in vulnerable situations. The presence helps connect with anybody in need, ensuring they receive the right support at the right time, especially when there's an influx of folks downtown. One of the strengths of the Crisis Diversion program is our strong coordination with the community and emergency services, and the collaboration allows us to enhance support for folks that find themselves in vulnerable situations in Edmonton. This support helps to prevent situations from escalating into full-blown emergencies. To maintain the strength of the network, Crisis Diversion hosts a monthly working group that brings together key partners whose work overlaps with ours on a daily basis. So that includes representatives from our program itself, the various City of Edmonton programs, EPS's Emergency Communication and Operations Management Branch, ECOM, Fire Rescue, Fire Prevention Team, City Center Mall, and Rogers Place Security, AHS's Opioid Dependency Program, Street Work Staff Analysts, and various other social service representatives depending on their capacity at the time. These meetings are essential for sharing data, discussing trends and emerging issues, and identifying opportunities to improve coordination across the sector. As we are the only publicly accessible outreach program that reaches or supports non-emergency crisis, we are dedicated to working closely with other partners in the community as well. 80% of our referrals come through 211, which highlights the importance of having that central access point, and then the remaining 20% are direct referrals into our mobile teams, primarily from emergency services. EMS represents about 70% of our overall emergency service referrals, but also EPS, fire, and all of our peace officers. They all have that direct line to the team, so they don't have to go through 211. And it's these partnerships that help individuals who find themselves in distress, that they're met with the right response at the right time by the right people, and it keeps more people out of emergency rooms, jail cells, and unsafe situations. I'll just quickly. It's fine. I'll just quickly go through some of our key referrals. The top 5 private citizens make up 30% of the referrals into crisis diversion, again highlighting that access point through 211 as being essential to our program. Self-referrals at 21%, and that can be through 211, but also we have a lot of folks who flag our teams down because they recognize the vans, they need support, and so they're referring right into the program that way. Community agencies contribute 16%, and both private businesses and emergency services each account for 12% of the referrals into our program. And these figures highlight the diverse network of folks that recognize the value of reaching out to crisis diversion for support. I will hand it back to you. I've done something. I'm sorry.
Oh, it just happened.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Claire. And lastly here today, I just want to take a moment to share some results that we are fairly excited about. These are going to be the early forecasted results for an updated social return on investment analysis that we've been conducting on the program. So we've been working with Dr. Eugene Krupa of Catalyst Research and Development, who is leading the team on the analysis. And then this becomes what will be an updated 3-year report on the overall or genuine value of the program given its current operating context, and follows up on a social return on investment that was done from 2016 to 2018 that actually saw a $1.91 return for every $1 invested. So with our updated analysis, the evaluators have estimated that the SROI for the 24/7 program is closer to $5.20 for every $1 invested, based on the 2023 year, or that first of 3 years that the analysis is being conducted for. It's based on best available data that we have currently in the program, as well as new surveys and consultations that we've conducted with field staff, as well as key stakeholder representatives. Now, currently over the last year and into 2025, we'll be continuing to refine the assessment as we improve our data system collection, and we conduct actually further consultations that will help us further kind of nail down our contributions to longer term outcomes that have been identified within this assessment. And so yeah, we're very excited to be able to share that with you all today, and that actually concludes the formal part of our presentation here. I'll actually pass it back to Jan to walk us through the panel.
Okay, I'm just going to invite our panelists up here. Does it matter what?
Oh, they know where this is.
Okay, you're supposed to follow. Make sure you're sitting in the right place. So we're just going to have a panel discussion with each of our partners here, and I'm going to just ask them a few questions, and then hopefully there'll be a little bit of time for questions from the audience at that point. Okay?
Oh, I guess I need the mic, don't I?
Okay. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of you to please briefly introduce yourself, of course describe what organization you're from, and just spend a couple of minutes saying, from your perspective, how has the 24/7 crisis diversion team benefited your work as a community service provider? I'm going to start with Mina.
Good morning, everyone, or I guess good afternoon, everybody. Hi, my name is Mina Gareshi. I'm the manager of Contact Center Operations with 211 at Canadian Mental Health Association. Pleasure to be here today. I've been with the program for a long time, and over the years, I've had the pleasure to witness the growth and expansion of the partnership that we have with Crisis Diversion. And in my opinion, it's been a game changer to witness what we can do to help serve the community. 211 is a single point of access to community services, including health, government, social services. And so through this partnership, we're able to help serve people even more in terms of providing compassionate, on-the-ground support to individuals in crisis who are not in emergency situation. And so it's been really great being able to be part of this partnership to help serve people and be part of a responsive, integrated collaboration that is able to help serve individuals in need. Thank you.
Would you go next, Nick? Sorry, Ade. Why did that?
Hi everyone, my name is Ade. I am Senior Manager of Community Support Programs at Hope Mission. And I've been a part of the program for just a little under 3 years, I think 2.5 years actually to be more specific. How has the program impacted the work that I do at Hope Mission? So, as you very well know, at Hope Mission we operate or we run a number of programs that are they're community-based and they're for the support of community members. We have shelters, we have housing programs, we have recovery programs. One of the things I've found about this particular program is because we have the mobile outreach teams, the crisis diversion teams are able to be a connector between resources for community members. So, I might run into someone who has a need and the resource they need is some place away from where I am in the moment. But then I'm able to contact the mobile teams and have them provide supportive transportation to the resource that is appropriate for the need of the community member. And I find that very valuable in that, like Claire mentioned, we have 10 teams operating over a 24/7 period. And so at any point in time, we're able to get a person connected with what is critical to them at that point in time. And I find that very useful in serving community members in particular.
Thank you so much. Amanda.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I am one of the crisis diversion team of Hope Mission. I've also been with Hope Mission since I've actually been in one of their programs, the Women's Treatment Center that Hope Mission provides called Wellspring. I graduated back in 2019. I volunteered with the Hope Mission Rescue Van and I just fell in love with it and I finally got that position. And just working with the rescue van, I don't even know where to start. There's so many stories I've encountered, especially working in the shelters as well too, and the housing department as well. You name it, except for HR. But yeah, just there's the one story that I've just recently. There's like more than just one. There was a gentleman that came up to the rescue van. There's like a certain, like, I knew he wasn't from Edmonton. I asked where he was from. He actually told me he was from Toronto and he's trying to get back, but he has no way to get home. So I told him to go talk to the housing team at Hope Mission, and he actually did. And he told me that they were going to help him get him back home. It was pretty amazing. And but like a week later, he said that his ID was expired. So Jerlyn, one of the staff at the Herb Jameson, actually helped him get his ID rolling. So just this past Thursday, he actually went back home. And just like my last rotation, we had a call at the West End. I don't even know where to start because he said he lost his house, his apartment through a fire, and I just felt so sad for him because he was a veteran, and I just remember prior to when I first started with the rescue van, me and my old partner, we were at a McDonald's picking up coffee, but this gentleman, I think he was a sergeant from the base. He actually mentioned something about just let veterans know that there is a place for them. So I kept that in my head, and I told the gentleman just last week, and he said he didn't even know anything about it until I told him. So yeah, after that, everything was just going right for him. So hopefully he got to the right place after I told him some of the resources that I picked up. Like networking with when I used to be in the housing department. Yeah, it's just pretty amazing, and I just love what I do. Thank you.
Thanks. And now Nick, sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicholas Stone. I am the Senior Manager of Mobile Supports and Community Spaces at Washington Community Services. Just hearing everyone introduce themselves, I feel a little bit old. Not in age, but I'd say in experience, as I've been with the program since its inception. So since 2015, I initially started out as a frontline staff, doing that for like 4 years. So I've seen quite a few things in my time with this program. And one thing that I can share with for sure is that if we should narrow it down to, let's say, for Bois Street, we have a space where folks can come and access services. But with this program itself, we are able to, I would say, extend our arms with collaboration in reaching folks that are normally on the south side and different parts of the city that would face multiple barriers, for example, like transportation and mobility concerns. So I'd say the improvement for this program and what we have seen and what has brought to my work is that we can also reach the folks that were no longer on the internal part of our inner city, but also on the outskirts of the city, and also just looking for supports from this program. I think this.
Great. So I'm going to just ask each of you one more question. So can you pass the mic back? I'm going to start with you, Mina. Actually, you kind of touched on this in your opening comments, but can you just tell us how you've seen the program show improved results since you've been involved in it?
For sure. In my opinion, the program has expanded and has shown a lot of improvement in terms of just public awareness, and our call volumes also speak to this fact. So we have had 43% increase in our call volumes since 2003. It's, in my opinion, it's a great partnership. It's a true model of compassionate, responsive, coordinated, integrated partnership. When on 211, when somebody calls or dials 211, presses 3, they're able to reach a live person who's compassionate, non-judgmental, is able to assess what's going on for that person in the moment, and then as needed, dispatch crisis diversion. And so beyond this, at 211, we're able to leverage our internal programs as well as our extensive database full of community health, government social services to then not only provide that dispatch if needed, but also help assess for what else that individual needs in the moment. You know, is it income support? Is it housing? Is it mental health resources? Let's figure out what's going on, and we can connect you to the full continuum of resources that we have available, as well as some of our other internal programs within CMHA. We have a newly developed housing diversion, more to come on that, but there are more internal programs that we're able to leverage. So when callers call, not only do they get a ride or transportation to a safe place, but within that call, we can also do a needs assessment and offer further resources and offer them longer-term connections to support. So it's been really great to kind of see that cross-sector partnership, and I think instead of having like parallel systems of support, moving towards an integrated, collaborative response where we're able to support individuals by leveraging all of our existing internal programs. I think that's where the real strength and transformation lies.
Perfect, thanks. So Dave, I was just going to ask you, when you're in the day-to-day activities of the 24/7 Crisis Diversion team, can you just give a little bit of a description of the people that you interact with, and maybe just also comment on how you've seen a change in the vulnerability over the years that you've been involved?
Thank you, Jan. So as everyone knows, we support the vulnerable and the marginalized in the community. And we do that, every day. At the frontline level, we're supporting people with housing insecurity, housing instability, food insecurity, people experiencing homelessness. We're doing that by responding to events with dispatch too. We're doing that by proactive engagement, and that's just connecting with the community during downtime. Through supportive conversation, providing lunches, clothing supplies, hygiene supplies, things that people need, people that are vulnerable and marginalized in our community. However, I think that, if we, anytime we say vulnerable and marginalized, I think it is very likely that we're thinking of a certain profile. But what we're seeing, I think, at least on a frontline level in community, is that whatever that profile is, not that there should be a profile, but whatever that is varying and changing. And so an example I could think of is over the course of the last 2 years, we've seen that there has been an increase and an influx in community members who are refugees or refugee seeking or refugee claimants, and it's we're seeing that the work that we do in crisis diversion in supporting even these folks is so critical. So if a person comes in here from a different country, but they have no home, no shelter over their head, they're starting from the scratch, and they'll need to be able to access the resources that's available in the community. But oftentimes, as much as we're trying to keep, I think there's been a change right now in the sector. We're trying to have more resources sort of coagulated in one space. The whole of the time, we still have, you kind of still have to travel from one location to another. The sites are not, all the resources are just not in one place. And so the crisis diversion program is able to, like Nick said, just eliminate that barrier of transportation and provide access and that connection to resources that are critical for individuals to move on further in their journey of wellness and well-being.
Perfect, thank you. So Amanda, you already spoke your passion for this work just really shines through, and you already spoke about some of the stories. Can you just tell us a little bit more about how your work on the vans, your frontline in those vans, how you've seen that impact the lives of the people that we work with? You can tell another story, that's okay.
Okay. What we do on our daily route. We just basically wait for calls, or we just drive around trying to look for the vulnerable people. There was this one call that we got that we had to finish up. It's a story, sorry. It was really quite interesting that when we were done this call at the Coliseum Inn, the Bear Lodge that Enoch owned, there was a gentleman. He was definitely he was intoxicated, but he couldn't talk properly, and that's when our last call, we were supposed to go on break, but I felt he was so vulnerable, and I just had to stay with him until the Bear Lodge staff helped me, and I was looking for, we have these resources books in our vans, in each of our vans, so I looked through that, tried to find a place that he was talking about. He said something about Macaulay. So I tried to find that, and I couldn't find anything, and I even called another place, but they said they don't have nobody under that name, and in the back of my head, I was like, I know this is a 911 call. So the lady that at the Coliseum, she was actually helping me too. We were basically doing the same thing, but And then the operator just told her to call 911. So we did, and yeah, she told me to leave. Well, not leave, like, she told me to leave nicely. She was like, I got this from here, and I'll just keep you updated on what's going on. And just not even 10 minutes go by, she told me that the cops actually came here, and he's been missing for 2 days from his group home. And I was just so relieved because he just felt so comfortable, like when the lady that we were talking to him, he was like so comfortable. Because I treated him with like, just, he was lost, and I didn't want to leave him, and just being able to interact with clients like that on a personal level and helping them and see what they need, or what they need and what other resources they can do. Just literally yesterday, an elderly lady told me that she was out of money, and I mentioned something about that. I picked up when I used to work in the housing department that she was about Alberta income, the income support, that they can actually help her with emergency funds, and she didn't even know anything about that either. And just having to know this knowledge and telling people what I know is pretty amazing, that some of the clients don't even know about these resources. And even having to transport them to go meet a housing worker, a social worker at the Herb Jameson as well too, especially with mental health. We would actually transport them to Access 24/7, and just more handoff, yes. But yeah, just there's like, I think that's not pretty much what we do, but there's like so much we want to help with our clients that we actually pick up, even with the encampments that we decide to go or not to go, because we don't know how many people are going to be at the encampment. And it's just, that part is kind of like an unsafe place for us, especially if there's only 2 of us that are on the van and there's like multiple people at the encampment. So we kind of decide whether to go or not. So we just decide not to go, because that's definitely unsafe for us, because we don't know what we're walking into. But yeah, just, that's all I could say right now.
That's perfect, thanks. So Nick, we're gonna talk to you. You've been here the longest, like me. We've been here since the beginning. So how have you seen the crisis diversion, 24/7 crisis diversion has filled the gaps over the years?
I would say since I've started, a gap that stands out significantly to us is our response. I should just add this before I elaborate a little bit more. Crisis diversion does not exclusively respond to overdose, but at times when we do get calls, like a wellness check for someone who's outside at the play field or by a bus park, and upon arrival we have determined that this person is overdosing, and that's where, as our teams would have the necessary training to support this individual. But also just doing, as what Claire and Kelly mentioned before, just regular community engagement. We are driving around, and then someone from the general public will, flag the team down, ask us if we could support this individual who's lying on the ground. So that's one of the gaps. Also, notably, which everyone in this room could possibly, have some sort of conversation about, is COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. This was something that the program itself has bridged the gap in transportation for members from our vulnerable community. Sorry. And what does that look like in terms of us transporting folks from, who are symptomatic or asymptomatic to isolation spaces? So I think this is probably, there's quite a few gaps that we have filled, but in regards to the opioid response as well as COVID-19, these are some of the gaps that this program has managed to fill with, limited.
Thanks. I'm going to let you keep the mic, and for each of you, we're just going to close with this. Could each of you just tell me one thing, just one thing, that you're most excited about as we move forward to create a new future and we re-envision 24/7? So one thing you'd be most excited about.
I am most excited about how we are moving forward in supporting the community at a more in-depth level. What I mean by that, in terms of, bumping up our resources to support the folks, as Claire mentioned earlier on, that there are times where we're drawn somewhere else, but then it also affects our capacity. So in terms of us trying to ramp up our services throughout the Edmonton area, where we can reach folks even deep south, or just on the outskirts of the Edmonton area, I'm most excited about that. That's what direction we're heading in, which is very positive about what we can do.
Thank you, Nick. Amanda, one thing you might be most excited about for the future?
What am I excited for the future? More housing for our people, and just especially for the women that are fleeing domestic abuse. Every time I try calling those, they're always full. So hopefully that will be more in our future as well too. More doors opening for that.
Thanks.
Something, I'm holding this microphone for sure. Something I'm excited about for the program, the Crisis Diversion program, actually is improved program efficiency. One of the things that happens a lot in this program that is probably not obvious to the public is the feedback loop system that we employ in trying to improve the program as a whole. And I find that, very frequently with this program, we're discussing how can we better in this regard or the other. And so for me, always keeps me excited about what we're doing, just because we're always trying to improve what we're doing. And there's a system to it. There's a whole method. It's not randomized or haphazard. It's not we're not just guessing what we're doing here. There's quite the process to it, and that keeps me excited. I realize that there's so much potential with this work, so that we can serve Edmontonians better and in very quantifiable fashion too.
Thank you. I would say, yes, ditto to all, but also opportunity for even deeper collaboration. I know, for example, for 211, we are exploring a pilot where we're going to have 2 of our frontline community resource specialists. We're going to explore embedding them over at EPS, Edmonton Police Services headquarters, and so hopefully that will foster better working relationships, stronger and more seamless referrals back and forth, and just better understanding about each other's programs, and to be able to leverage each other's programs a little more efficiently. And I think through these partnerships and these collaborations, like I mentioned earlier, we're able to help serve people in a more effective way, provide help in a faster way, more timely and real-time kind of collaboration is what I'm excited for.
Perfect, thanks very much. Now, I know we're just about at the end of our time, and I understand if people have to leave, because we did commit to keeping you only here from 12 to 1, but I just wanted to say a very special thank you to our panelists who are here today. But not only just the ones that are here today, but really to thank our great partners at Boyle Street Community Services, Hope Mission, CMHA, and also the other many important stakeholders, including Alberta Health Services, of course Edmonton Police Services, we couldn't do it without them, Edmonton Fire and Rescue, and the peace officers and the many new roles that they're playing. And again, a really super special thank you to the City of Edmonton, who continues to fund this program, who continues to have the faith in us to coordinate it, so we totally appreciate that. And this is just one of the many collaborative partnerships that REACH is involved in, but one of our ones that we're very, very proud of. But I do see that there's about 1 or 2 minutes here. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to put the panel on the spot. Anyone has any questions for the panel or any of the team here at REACH? We have a minute or 2 to do that. You guys must have really answered all those questions. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Counselor.
how many more resources could you use to decrease those wait times even further?
Which one of you would like to answer to, what do, and you can't say like $100 million, that's not what she wants to hear. I think, I maybe just to rephrase too, like what could you do to decrease those wait times? What resources would you need to further decrease those? And I see that Nick is ready with an answer for you here, Councillor.
No, I was just actually saying not me, but I would say a more robust technology for the program itself is right now, in terms of dispatches, we want to be a little bit more efficient in how we serve the Edmonton area. So I'd say increasing our robustness around the technology part, as well as the frontline personnel and mobile services that we have to increase that capacity so that we would lessen the call wait time and have more support for the general community.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Hi, Jackie from the Journal, and I'm wondering about, and I'm not sure if you guys can tell me or not, but the number of times when the team, or a member of the team actually accompanies or is accompanied by a member of the EPS in your call, whatever.
So the amount of times that EPS is present when we are responding to a call, it all depends on the nature of the call itself. So normally when we respond to calls, it's someone that's looking to get from an unsafe space to a safe space. But then at times calls can escalate in a way where it's always through frontline staff, and then if they feel that it's unsafe for them at that point in time, then another means of transportation would be necessary, and that's where EPS would come in. Or if we get a direct call from the Edmonton Police Service and they're currently on site and would like the crisis diversion team to intervene.
Yeah. Do we have any idea, but like just the numbers or percentages?
Well, I think we definitely can give you numbers and the number of times that I probably don't have it right here, but we'll definitely get it to you right away. We can get you numbers on how many times EPS referred to us, and maybe how many times that something escalated to the point that we needed it. But the idea is really clear too, that this is a diversion program, so the attempt is to divert from police and emergency services. Not so much that the two would accompany one another, but that they would support one another. And I think that's a clear distinction. But we can get you the absolute numbers in terms of those cases that were referred by EPS to us, and maybe the times it was escalated beyond. Those numbers are definitely available. So I'm looking at Kelly, who's nodding vigorously. We can get those to you right away. Any other questions? Okay, I wanted to acknowledge also that Prince Abay is here, but not Councillor, she's acting mayor. So thank you for dropping in and being here with us today. I didn't introduce you before, so thanks for being here. Anybody else? Okay, so with that, we're going to end it, and thank you so very much for being here with us. We are, of course, as always, available for any questions or any feedback that you have for us on how we can make this service even better for Edmontonians. So thanks again to the panel.
Walk north.